just saying like a lot of these niggas ain't really used to being with real women like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if we not together anymore, you can still take care of shit. It's not that big of a, like he was just saying some stuff that was just like not really, you're not used to a rapper hearing.
But when he says you can still take care of shit, is he meaning paying her bills and stuff?
I think he was talking about a mixture of like just dealing with other men in her life, but also like still taking care of everything he
So
needed
how does that
to.
speak to your point of not paying any bills if he's saying like, oh,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that some men use that as game, like I'm paying your bills to get you to like me.
okay.
Whereas I would absolutely never do that, because to me it's like I wouldn't even want that to be a factor in why somebody likes me.
But
even
what
if
about-
that gets me the vajayjay.
But what about after they already like you?
So here's the thing. For me, something like splurging has to be a personal choice. It has to be like, man, this woman has either done something that I'm so appreciative for, or I'm just there's an event happening that I really, really want to get her something. You know what I mean? It's this new age of women that are like entitled. They're just like, you my man, I want a Birkin. You know what I mean? Oh, you can, and then the consequence, instead of just being like, oh, you can't get it right now, or you don't want to get it right now, is like, and this is the effects of social media. It's just like, well, shit, there's hella men out there that can get me a Birkin. Let me go after these rappers, blah, 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 blah. And all these dudes who aren't necessarily broke, but just like raised a certain way,
Why
are
do
just
we-
like, what do you,
Why do we always jump to Birkin? Birkin is like the top tier.
it's the-
Birkin bags,
first of all, they're
$100,000. You know, some
But I
bags are
think it's-
100,000.
Rappers run our culture.
But
you know
I-
that.
Yes and
Hip hop
no.
runs our culture.
I feel like it does and it doesn't, because there's a huge population of us that are not influenced by rappers. So there are some that are, but
are you
I
talking
feel
about
like
women?
I'm talking about women and men.
Okay, well, let's back up real quick.
I'm
Wait,
just
wait,
talking
wait.
about our culture, because you said our culture is
Right,
influenced
right.
by rap, and I'm saying
I'm talking about
not
men, though.
necessarily.
I'm talking about men, though.
But not
Because women run the actual culture.
Mm-hmm.
Men just tell us what makes y'all happy. So
I don't know
rappers
any-
give us the information. Y'all run the culture.
But
we
I'm-
get the info from the rappers.
I'm going to say this. I don't know any woman, and I know a lot of women that's ever asked their guy for a Birkin. It's just, it's a social media thing. I don't think it's
It's not.
practical. So a woman has asked you to buy her a Birkin before.
Not
No,
at all. No.
And I've never
But-
asked anyone to buy me a Birkin,
that's
and
the
I don't
thing.
know
I'm not-
anyone who has.
Okay. I'm not blaming women for this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying you guys run the culture. So basically, whatever you guys do, whatever you guys want, whatever you guys invent is the golden standard for other women and men. Because who falls in line with you guys? Black men. And then who falls in line after that? Other men. Just in terms of the culture.
Okay.
Not in terms of importance or any of that. I'm just saying the culture. So when we have something like rappers deal with a certain kind of woman,
Right.
right?
Right.
We don't know that. We just see them with all the women. We just assume they get all the women, all the fine women. So we listen to what they say, even though they're not talking about all women, because that's the information that we get.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of the toxicity happens, because they're dealing with one type of woman who likes a certain thing, and then they relay the information to us, and we're like, oh, okay, women want Birkins.
But
Then
see-
you inform us like, no, not all of us want that, but we're hearing about the women who hang around with rappers who are the women who want.
I think
the
it
status.
I think it became a trend on social media to discuss it, but I don't think that actually transitioned to real life.
That's
I
because
don't
rappers
know.
are the main ones who can afford it, because they talk
Right.
about it.
Well, I
and
mean,
then
the
we
average-
just talk about it on a different way, and it seems like rappers or people, dudes with money who hear about, from what you guys like and then relay it to the rest of the culture, they kind of mess things up, because now there's arguments within regular relationships because one of them feels like they deserve more, whether it's the woman feeling like they need better gifts or the man feeling like he needs to have more money and have more status. And it's just all kind of like messed up, because now you have niggas that can't afford Birkins getting pressed. Like, why don't I have this?
I don't disagree. I don't disagree that I feel like social media is what really is influencing more relationships versus the rappers, because a lot of people look at the rappers and they're like, not necessarily like, oh, this guy is cool. Everything about this guy is cool, and what he's doing with his women is
Isn't
cool.
that just the early social media influencer?
But what I'm saying with in the realms of social media, I feel like there are certain topics that can influence relationships, but I don't necessarily. I feel like when people just jump to Birkin, you're jumping to a $30,000 bag. When we're talking about getting her hair and nails done and maybe paying the water bill, not $30,000 to $100,000 bag.
I get it.
I'm just talking about as far as just paying a bill or two, or
Well, I think it's great news that not every woman wants a Birkin. You know.
wait, don't misquote me.
Oh,
I
you do
didn't
want
say,
a Birkin.
I have never asked, nor like, I've never really been the type that's just like, oh, Birkin out. If someone wants to buy me a Birkin, I will gladly accept it.
Of course.
Is what I'm saying. But it's not something that I can honestly say. If a guy asks me, what do you want for Christmas? A guy I'm dealing with asks me, what do you want for Christmas? I'm not going to say a Birkin bag.
Do you think they?
You know what I'm saying?
Do you like them? Do you think they're dope, or do you think it's just the culture making
I think
you feel like you need one?
so. I feel like there's some of them that appreciate and value. If he's going to get me one of those,
Oh, you look at it as more of a stock than a purse.
I'd rather him buy me the one that appreciates and value. That way, as I have it, I probably won't ever wear it unless I'm going to a party where Beyonce is going to be or something like that. Okay. You know, outside of that, it's probably
this isn't really
gonna
a conversation for you.
It's well, because it's not practical. The average woman, I don't think, is asking for Birkins.
But I also don't. That's why I started off by saying that the rapper rapping about I bought her a Birkin, the 6ix9ine who's just like, I'm buying
right,
Birkins.
he bought all those Birkins for those girls.
They're dealing with a different type of woman, not necessarily
Right.
than you, but just in general.
Right.
But then when it comes down to you, now you're talking about only buy me a Birkin that's worth a stock. That also puts you in a separate category.
Well, I'm saying if somebody's going to buy me that,
Right.
it's not going to be a request of mine. But if
Right.
somebody I'm dealing with
Like I
has
said,
that kind of bread and he's going to get me that, I'm not going to be
Different
like,
category.
don't do that.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
I think
You're
any
not
woman,
the person to ask for this.
I think any woman is not going to be like, don't get me a Birkin. I mean, some might be
No,
like,
for sure.
don't. But
I think that there are a lot of women who would get a Birkin just because it's the trend, because they're
I
expensive.
don't disagree.
Exactly.
I don't disagree. But
That's
when
why
I'm talking about
when I say that you're in a different category, I'm not trying to diss you. I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
that that's like you're thinking about it from a business and like a businesswoman point of view,
Yeah.
you know. And I feel like you're analyzing it differently
Mm-hmm.
than the women that these rappers are dealing with.
Well,